baby. Hey, you know who we voting for? We voting Donald Trump, baby. America needs saving. America needs saving. We voting Trump, baby. November 5th, we going crazy. November 5th, we going crazy. Red pill poppin', swerving in the Trump. Republican 4G, Antifa knows what's up. Red, white, and blue, MAGA nation, throw it up. Black, white, and brown, all about Trump. Democrat party gon' take your freedom. Indicting our president cause they can't beat it. It's a two-tier justice system. Put America first, we the big. FJB, 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 FJB. Let's go, Brandon, sing it. We voting Donald Trump, baby. America needs saving. America needs saving. We voting Trump, baby. November 5th, we going crazy. November 5th, we going crazy. Now I pledge allegiance to vote for Trump. There's a red wave coming, you gon' surf for what? In God I trust to take the devil away. Lock Joe Biden up and throw the key away. Your propaganda ain't gonna work on me. Bidenomics is like you working for free. I demand reparations from every idiot that voted for Joe Biden, boy, period. Period, Sleepy Joe is a fraud. And the bloodbath in the Oval Office. The media is the enemy of the people. The Democrats and the fake news always cheat. FJB, 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 FJB. Let's go, Brandon, sing it. We voting Donald Trump, baby. America needs saving. America needs saving. We voting Trump, baby. November 5th, we going crazy. November 5th, we going crazy.
You're listening to the House of Cards on the Big Patriot Radio Network. All music on this podcast and radio network are purchased under all applicable licenses by the Big Patriot Radio Network.
Introducing to you.
You're on House of Cards. Live on Facebook and YouTube.
It's going down.
Locked and loaded with the truth.
And good evening. Hey, everybody. Good evening. It's Mike Covert. It is Thursday, 7 o'clock, and it is time for Beaufort County's House of Cards. Thank you to everybody for coming on here tonight. Wow, what a big crowd already on hand, and it's just 7 o'clock. Don't forget, get the stuff out of the way first. Big show on tonight. Got a special guest coming on. You've probably seen all the stuff online about it. If you're watching tonight, you're either on Facebook, on YouTube, another Facebook channel, or you're listening simulcast on bigpatriotradio.com. Some may say, well, what is that? Well, it's a radio station. It's an internet radio station, digital broadcasting, bigpatriotradio.com. Tune in, get the get our app put on your phone, from going to the website. You can hit the three dots and bada boom, bada bang. Get it on your phone. You can listen on your Roku. You can listen on Amazon. You can listen on your Alexa. Stream it in the car, in the boat, wherever you are. But tune in. If your favorite watering hole doesn't play Big Patriot Radio, hey, tell them. Tune in, bigpatriotradio.com. We have podcasts 5 nights a week. Monday night, the New America Movement is on at 7 o'clock and then again at 9 o'clock. On Wednesdays, we have the Overton Report with the number one rated show, matter of fact. Overton Report with Corey Allen at 8 o'clock, rather, and then in the 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock hour, just depending on how long he goes. Thursday night is this show, and Saturday, Ann Ubellis, the Radio Chickadee, and the Southern Sense Radio Show is on at 7 o'clock on Saturday, and then Sundays at 7 o'clock, also in the evening. BigPatriotRadio.com welcomes Andrew Southwick and the nationally acclaimed Culture Crossroads. So be sure to tune in to all of those throughout the week. Let's take a check here. Boom. The intro song tonight was last week's. It was last week's number one song. You heard that at the RNC National Convention by Blow X and Amber Rose, Trump Baby. The number one song this past week on Big Patriot Radio was Good Times, Bad Times by Led Zeppelin. Bluffton and Beaufort, right here in South Carolina, top listening cities. Omaha, Nebraska, again, Offutt Air Base. We've picked up 2 more listeners over there. I don't know what the attraction is, but glad to have you here. And Hilton Head, Daufuskie came in and tied for 3rd. So great show tonight. Great show. Again, special guest coming on around the 7:20 time frame, somewhere in there. Hey, if you're on Facebook, please like the page. Tell your friends, like the page. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell so you're notified when we go live. We want to keep access to the show, as easy as possible, as cheap as possible. Obviously, it's free. But if you'd like to send stars through Facebook, please go ahead. If you can do that at your leisure. We have a note there on the bottom. If you want to chip in $5 a week or a month or $10 or whatever, we have all kind of stuff going on. It's on the bottom of the screen. Feel free at any time to help us keep expenses down and bring you the content that, quite frankly, nobody else is bringing you the content that Big Patriot Radio and the Beaufort County House of Cards is bringing you. So we appreciate those who already have donated. We greatly appreciate you, and we don't forget you. And if you decide to do that, welcome to the family.
Everything that rocks is right here. Right here.
Let's rock.
With Big Patriot Radio.
That's what I'm talking about.
So again, lots of stuff to talk about tonight. Specifically, we are going to continue looking into and bringing out to you our investigation into, the surrounding of the Daufuskie Islands Ferry Company. That is the Lowcountry Ferry. That's that same company's influence from a group called Six Senses. We're going to talk about that during this whole thing. The effect that it's happening on people that live there. Property values there and elsewhere, whether it be on Daufuskie or on Hilton Head. We're going to talk about businesses that are closing down or have already closed. The closeness of St. Helena to this particular situation, and it's a very big umbrella. There's a lot to it, and we're taking it apart piece by piece as we investigate it. We're also going to be talking about the meeting that County Council had this past Tuesday evening, special meeting about the Haynesworth-Sinkler-Boyd report that we have talked about many times here on this show for the better part of I don't know, I guess it's been a year, a long time that they County Council hired this bunch. We're going to talk more about that. There's been some things that have come out as of late. We want to make sure you have the truth on that and the real story. We may get to more depending upon time, but as always, we want to hear from you. We value what you have to say. Put it in your chat bar, whatever format you're watching. If you're just listening on the radio, obviously you can't chat. Maybe call somebody or send them a text message. And if you are listening to this later on, you can watch these on demand via YouTube. You just go to the YouTube channel and go to live, and they're all stored. I don't know why, but they're stored under the live column. You can look at all of them from the past couple of years, I guess it is now. You can also look at them on Facebook. You just have to go back through the archives and find whatever it is you'd like. But first, the biggest news across the country, actually, since our last show, is the withdrawal of President Joe Cornpop Biden from the 2024 presidential race. Now, we don't talk a lot about national politics here on this show because you hear it about everywhere else. The only exception to that is when it's something important, and this is actually pretty important. So he released his decision, he being Biden, via social media and a letter. Then he went somewhat, people would say, underground for 3 days or so. I mean, I'd heard he had COVID, but I knew he was at his beach house. Anyway, he wasn't heard from for a while. A lot of talking heads really went, off the deep end about where he was. The main outfall from this is that with his backing away from the presidential race, Vice President Kamala Harris is the the going to be the candidate for president of the United States out of the Biden camp. They have endorsed her. It looks like she has acquired already the delegates needed to do this. I think top Democrats have endorsed her. Barack Obama, however, has not endorsed her. Last time I checked, he has not endorsed her. I know Bill and Hillary has, but Barack Obama hasn't. Keep watch of that. Will there be anyone else? And I think this is very, very possible. The Democrats, their election process, their convention, the rules don't seem to be firm and set in stone. So it's, if you get this sense of, I'm not sure, but this is what I think, that's kind of what we're feeling, is that we're really not sure because they're making this up as they go along. At least that's how it feels. They're talking about doing votes early to get a roll call to hopefully stop, in their words, someone from running against her. But we possibly won't know fully until days before the Democrat National Convention in Chicago. You see, their system has what I consider it to be rounds. At least that's how I'm understanding this, these rounds. Kamala Harris will easily sail through the first round as she collects the majority, I suppose, of at least Biden's delegates. Now, it's the second round, again, as I'm understanding it, that if anyone steps up prior to, here is where it opens up and delegates may be cast for others in the party. There have been rumors across media lines of such people like Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, Governor Beshears, I think his name is, of Kentucky. There's always talk of Gavin Newsom of California. There's even outsider talk of someone like a Jose Cuellar or Henry Cuellar, and even Hillary Clinton's name has come up. The last one is a long shot because they've already publicly endorsed Kamala. But I can tell you, rest assured, if she, Hillary Clinton, sees the delegate numbers begin to mount, she'll throw that endorsement to the side and seek the nomination. I mean, it's a blood sport. It's a bloodbath. From the local level to the national level, it's a bloodbath. Hillary Clinton could care less. That's just how it works. They're all evil. They're all self-serving at that level. Anyhow, let's look at Kamala. Quite possibly, and I don't say this with any disrespect, it's just the truth, quite possibly the absolute worst possible candidate the Democratic National Party could put up, other than Newsom or maybe Bernie Sanders. But maybe. Personally, I was hoping that the talk of Biden being unable to win would stop. You'd hear people all over conservative talk shows, conservative media talking about, oh yeah, he lost his marbles. The whole thing. I was over here sitting, shut up. Just shut up. Just let him go. Just let him go. I personally, if they'd let Joe run, that would have been the setup for a Trump ass kicking. And I think that was crystal clear. I really think the majority of people in the world actually saw that, but the pressure was mounting from both sides and he stepped down. So moving forward, we have Kamala. Her approval numbers were bad, but in the week since her taking on the role of candidate, they have dropped even further. Yes, there are some circles where they're up, and those circles are places like Chicago or Detroit, Los Angeles, San Francisco. Those are hubs, Democrat liberal hub. And she's further left than a Democrat. She is a liberal candidate. Now, there was also some fallout. She had been talking about, how much money she raised. And there were points in the polls that she was actually picking up because of the comments that she had raised so much money in 24 hours. Well, it just came out that it just came out with, this is one of the last 12 hours or so. She didn't raise that money. That was money that was donor based, that was locked up. They didn't release it. Well, she takes the wheel. They release it. So she didn't fundraise 80, $90 million. They unlocked 80 or $90 million. That's a far cry. It's a gift. Since that truth came out, her numbers started creeping back down a little bit. So, and this will go on. Trump does have a commanding lead, but pay attention to swing states and those historically blue states, places like New Hampshire and Michigan. Donald Trump is opening up his lead over Harris. We should all hope and pray that the more she comes out and speaks publicly about, well, the wheels on the bus, they go around and around because they are round. When she has conversations like that, that is just a bonus. That's a bonus. That's like a hockey match when one guy is in the penalty box and you got one up on him. So every time she opens her mouth, that's a one up. Trump is not a great public speaker. I'm the first to admit that, but she is horrific. Some of her analogies, and I had one at the top of my head, something like, we know where we came because we came from where we become. Something to that effect. That makes absolute no sense. She makes no sense. I don't think she makes sense to herself. I look at her and I think, if I was her husband and I sat there and listened to this, I'd be like, honey, what is wrong with you? What are you talking about? So, the hyena laugh, that is like nails on a chalkboard. And actually, I want to share this with you as our guest has now arrived in the green room and enjoying some, he's a politician, so he's only drinking water and brownies and chocolate chip cookies back there in the green room. We'll bring him on in a minute. But I have a picture that I want to, let's see here. Let's go here. Let's go here and we'll share. And, the laughing hyena. I saw this today and it was perfect. It was perfect. That is that's your current vice president meme for the week and your Democrat candidate so far, Kamala Harris. And I don't see this working out well, to be quite honest with you, for the Democrats. National public disgrace personalities. Get this one now, like Joy Reid. Joy Reid didn't take but 36 hours to come out and call the race card. She knows Harris is a disaster, a dumpster fire, and Reid call out. Now, she didn't call out a race card on other races. She called it out on her own race. This is how they think. People of the far left. She called out people of all people of color, blackmailing them. This is a blackmail. Honestly, she said, quote, if you are black and you don't vote for Kamala Harris, you are going to be on the other side and on the other side of history, end quote. Now, I don't know what the other side is. That's speculation on several parts, but you're going to be on the other side and the other side of history. That's how disgusting is that? How disgusting if I were a person of color and someone said that, I would, I just think that's disgusting. If a public fixture came out and said, to me or someone who looks like me, hey, if you white folks don't vote for Donald J. Trump, you ain't white, really. I would say just as loud and just as clear how absurd that statement really is. Personally, I think people of color know that Kamala Harris jailed more black men during her term as California Attorney General than any other racial group. How is that, Joy Reid? And I sent her a text. Didn't think she'd ever answer me. Maybe she will. How is that? How is that? Kamala Harris, who, by the way, is not African-American. She's Indian Jamaican or Indian Barbadian. She's not African-American. Just saying. Anyway, I find it insulting for Joy Reid to say that. And I talked this week, since this came out, I talked to several people of color and who have stated the same thing. Now, I got statements, and these are quotes. These are quotes. So these are all folks here around somewhat near me. Quote, who is Joy Reid to tell me who to vote for? End quote. Another, quote, vote for her because Reed thinks she is black. She isn't black. She's half Indian and half from Barbados, end quote. That's where I got that from. Quote, I am intelligent enough to know that when Hollywood and New York says vote here, that I need to look elsewhere, end quote. And then a real good one, quote, black people don't need to be told who to vote for. We are smart enough to make up our own minds, end quote. That's telling. That's very telling that a group of 5 or so, or whatever it is, folks that I had just picked out of, hey, let me call so-and-so, let me text so-and-so, that those, I had none, to be fair, none that said, Joy's right. Or if Joy said so, I'm going to do it. That brings us to the final question. Were you better off under Donald Trump or the last 3.5 years or so under Biden-Harris? Here's some statistics. Trump was involved in 0 world conflicts. Biden-Harris lost Americans in Afghanistan. They're now saying they didn't, but that again is a Saul Alinsky tactic of repetitive signaling. That's what Biden-Harris is doing. Russia and China didn't invade any country under Donald Trump. Under Biden-Harris, Russia has invaded Ukraine. Under Obama, Russia invaded Crimea. Under Biden-Harris, China is literally encircling Taiwan. Under Biden-Harris, Hamas and Iranian proxies have attacked Israel and allies, and now Hezbollah is threatening. Under Trump, Iran was literally bankrupt, and their proxies were dried up. Under Biden-Harris, they are thriving. Yes, I will say that Trump was one of the biggest spenders, if not the biggest spender at that time on record. And I blame most of that due to Obama's obliteration of our military, leaving him with a military substandard of a world power. But recent CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, reports are showing that Biden-Harris will actually either equal or possibly outspend Trump's administration by the time his term is up. Gas is now twice what the cost it was under Trump. I hear people saying, but it's coming down. It's lowering every week. It's lowering every month. They say it may or it may not, but it's still twice as much as it was then. I don't care if it's got a 5-week decline. Hallelujah. But it's still twice as much as it was. They say, well, food. Let's look at food. Food right now, today, I looked at it again. It's 48% up over the Trump administration era as a national average. 48% as an average. That's horrible. 48% of an average. You think of the delta in there. You think of the mean and the median. That's incredible numbers. We have more fentanyl deaths now than we did under Donald Trump and under Biden-Harris, rather. There has been, get this, there has been enough fentanyl crossing the southern border in 3.5 years to kill every single American on the earth, this country. Every single American in this country. Enough fentanyl has come across to have been able to kill all of us. We had a safer border. We have had a wide open border under Biden-Harris. The world is looking right now, as the perfect opportunity to continue is ravenous behavior over America. And if Harris gets in office, that will only continue. That simply cannot happen. Firmly believe she will decimate whatever part of a republic that we have. They say a democracy. We don't have a democracy. We have a republic, constitutional republic. She will decimate whatever is left of it will be gone. My suggestion, my hope is that we all vote Trump, baby, in November 24th.
Everything that rocks is right here. Right here.
Let's rock.
With Big Patriot Radio.
That's what I'm talking about.
All right, we're going to talk again. We've got a couple things coming up. We're going to get to our guest. Don't forget, a little bit later on, we're going to dig in deeper on this Daufuskie Island thing. But first, back in I guess it was 2022, that election season, I had the opportunity to work with some of the candidates running for county council here in Beaufort County. 3 of them won their seats. One of them ended up winning a city council seat over in Beaufort. And we have one of them with us tonight. Please join me. Let me get my thing over here. Please join me in welcoming my good friend and the county councilman representing District 11. That's the southern end of Hilton Head Island, Mr. Tom Reitz. Good evening, Mr. Reitz. Councilman, sir, how are you?
Oh, Councilman, very good. I appreciate you having me. How have you been?
I have been wonderful. Wonderful. Just had a big rainstorm. I'm surprised the internet is still up, to be quite honest with you.
Tell me about it.
Storm out. Hey, I appreciate you coming on. I want to be cognizant of your time, but I'm glad to see you. I hope the summer has been going well for you and your family. Let's jump right into some things. As you know, I don't like to kick around the sugar. Let's just go right to it.
I expect you to be tough on me.
No. Hey, this past Tuesday evening at a special called county council meeting, Chair Passament wanted someone to motion to go into executive session, and this was in reference to the Haynesworth-Sinclair-Boyd report. You had motioned that to have that denied and to talk about the matters of the report in an open public forum. I know everybody's going, what? Why'd you do that?
Mike, our campaign, I think just about everybody that campaigned for this seat talked about transparency and openness. And, I personally feel that the people I represent, and even in my district and out, should have a stronger voice on council. And I just think it would have been a tremendously good exercise to go through that and have the people see what we do, how we deliberate, what we think about, what we put into motion. We hired a new manager, and I think it's just a great opportunity for us to start to turn that ship, that Titanic of sentiment toward council. And I think we're starting to get good feedback now, and I want to keep that going.
So you asked, you had motioned it on the floor. Let me change something here. Hey guys, let's stay. And what that motion meant was, hey y'all, let's do it out here in front of everybody, in front of God and country, instead of going behind that door and doing it where nobody can hear us and nobody will know what we're saying. Mm-hmm. And, some people had said to me, he was being open and honest about it, wasn't he? And my opinion was, well, yes, he was. Councilmember Paula Brown seconded your motion. Councilman Bartholomew voted with you, but none of the others. Now, granted, Cunningham and Dawson were absent. I don't think anybody else was absent that I can remember. Why did no one else vote with you in being open and honest and transparent and let the people hear what this summary report was all about?
As you can imagine, I don't want to speak for anybody, not even the colleagues that voted for an open session discussion. If you take a look at the track record of all council members, including myself, up to this point for this first 18 months that we've been in office, I never once said, let's not go into executive session. As much as I don't like executive session, I feel, if I meet with the people, I listen to the people, I get a lot of feedback, district and outside of them, all through Beaufort County. I actually like listening to the folks because I wouldn't know how to do my job if I didn't. And I think regardless of how difficult some of these situations are and will be, if we actually take the time and consider doing our job in front of the people that elected us, we're going to get through some difficult things, but it's going to show the people that we're truly there for them. And I don't understand personally, never been in politics other than this 18 months, and I'm a veteran now, without a doubt. I think, We have to have more sessions in open public. Um, we have a lot of incredible people in our county. We have good staff people. We have council members that are good. We got to show the people what we're doing.
I agree. Correct me if I'm wrong, Councilman, but the meeting, the reason, I guess, the meeting was to agree on this so-called summary report, as stated in no uncertain terms by Chairman Passman and Council Member Tabernick.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the word, I'm one of those kind of weirdos that likes to unpack things, and words have meanings. In legislation, before a bill is enacted, you have to have a section of definitions.
Okay.
Someone to say, well, what does restroom mean, or what does high tide mean? So the word summary, according to the dictionary, means, quote, a brief statement or account of the main points of something. That's what a summary is. The full report, 34, 36, whatever it is, pages in total. I'm going to put the summary report up here so we can look at it together before I continue. Let me let's see here. Let me throw that up here, because I want to ask. There we go. That should be up there. It does. Can you see that?
I can.
Okay. So this is obviously, ladies and gentlemen, this is the summary report from the other night. It is not dated. Didn't even realize that. Is it dated at the end? Yes, 7/23. So this is a summary report. It picks bits and pieces here and there of the full report. My first question, Councilman, does this summary leave out anything that a taxpayer has the right to see?
Well, you're either asking the right or the wrong person that question. I believe we work for the taxpayer. Very strongly believe that. I believe properly putting out all the information, that 36-page. I even believe that we should have put out all the correspondence between council, legal, and HSB. So everything could have been out there. So again, you may be asking the wrong person. Now, my thoughts are, why do we want to pick and choose what we provide? Why can't we redact the names, the companies, whatever it is, so we don't hurt anybody, and provide everything? So again, Mike, get back to your question. It's simple for me. Very simple.
Looking at this summary report, and we'll go through this here, I highlighted a few things from earlier. When I read this, now I've had the opportunity to read the entire thing, even though getting that was interesting. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. Reading that and then reading this, I highlighted a few things.
Sure.
They talk about here at the beginning, what happened. Well, the county hired a law firm to do this work, this financial audit, and I'll ask you about that. Remind me here in a second. County council mandated, blah, blah, blah. You see here about P-card purchases. And then it's going to go through the first section here, 312 procurements involving a non-competitive process whose value totaled $12 million. That means they had, the county had 312 bids that they didn't do a competitive bid process, which is against the ordinance, correct?
I believe you're correct.
Yes. So you move down through here in section 2. I have highlighted here, county council is ready to take steps to restore the public's trust by demonstrating county council's commitment to have a purchasing and procurement system, blah, 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 integrity, transparency, and uniformity. The county council, correct me if I'm wrong, sir, but the county council already has codified a procurement process for the county. Is that right?
That is correct. And let me just say this as we get into all of this. I want to go through every one of these and more that you want to talk about. We have a new manager, Mr. Moore, Mike Moore. Out of complete respect for him, I got to tell you, he has a great job to do. I think he's going to do an incredible job addressing and attacking this and the HSB ideas and thoughts of us creating a better system. So
Mhm.
just out of respect for him, I want to leave. I don't want to put him in a corner
Oh no,
and say something. And again, believe me, I feel everything should be out and available for scrutiny
absolutely,
by our, bosses, are the people we work for and serve.
absolutely.
So
And
with
as
that,
you look, absolutely, and as you look through this document, it talks about 4 procurements, and you see here, and there's how to do it, take steps and how to do it. Those 2, I have a note here. 1 and 2, it's already part of the codified procurement process. If you go to the next page, 3, 4, 5, 6, items 3 through 6 are already codified in the procurement process. So far, all Passaman has done is regurgitate the procurement process that he's going to do a good job with this. When you go down here, we're on page, I don't know what this is. We're like page 4, I guess. The let me just go down here. Section B, P card for B, 1 through 5, I believe it is, or 6. This is the creation, of you will, of a travel policy, of a purchasing policy. It's very, very rainbowish, butterfly, and whatever cotton candy talk. It does not, as I say here, does not guarantee anything. There's no guarantee. At the end of this, here's my take. The summary report, to me, quite frankly, Councilman, it's an absolute joke. It's blatantly a laughing stock in the face of taxpaying citizens, because it doesn't do anything. This has not told the citizens anything other than, well, this is how we're going to do procurement. That was a bit of it. And it's already stuff that's codified. It's already in an ordinance. My thoughts and I'm not asking you to put these people in a corner or a box, but for Passaman, for Howard, for Tabernick and McKellen to make jobs of what, or to make claims rather, of what a great job we've done, we being the county council, that is a farce. You're either going to release the report in totality, or it comes out on its own. I mean, that's not for you. That's really for Joe Passaman to understand. And if he would have released the report, take the licks that you're going to take, because there are some in there. Take those licks. Be honest up front and explain, this was a problem, this was not a problem, this was a problem, this wasn't a problem. Here's what we're going to do. Not this cotton candy approach. I firmly and honestly believe that people, Joe and Jane Citizen, would have said, okay, they came out, they told us they showed their dirty laundry. Here's how they're going to fix it. Here's what happened, and here's what we did. Let's move on and let's not do it again. I think, Tom, that people can take that and go, all right, let's move forward. This still smells like rotten cheese.
There's no doubt that, it's my opinion, everything should have been released. We owe it to the people. I think there's a number, 350,000 and more. The taxpayers paid for this. I believe they should get the whole report. There are other people now requesting from us the full report, and we're using this attorney-client privilege, which I'm going to have to defer to legal, and I'm sure this is going to spur on a lot of questions, but I'd like some answers to it as well, in more depth and understanding it more. But if we have an attorney-client privilege issue with Hainsworth, Sinclair, Boyd, why did we use a law firm to do this?
Great question.
I'm serious. Again, I'm a complete veteran when it comes to this council stuff now, more than you know.
Can you turn to the left? Can you turn to the left a little bit? Turn to the left just a little bit more. No, your head. Just turn like that a little bit. Oh yeah, I see the scars.
You got me on that one, brother.
I see the scars.
Oh, listen, Councilman, I'm telling you now, you probably noticed it. Council folks are coming together. It was this council early on in our tenure that put together a system when we provide taxpayer money to entities that request and are qualified and go through the process of getting funds for whatever Habitat for Humanity, whatever it may be. We now have a system in place that this council was responsible for, where there's going to be accountability, like we're going to get receipts back. In the past, it was sort of, if we get some, that's good. If not, okay. Now it's, wait a second. We owe it to the people we serve. If we're going to give, we're going to tax you and give this money out, we're going to have a system in place. So again, and if you think about this too, I think it's worth noting, in the last 7 years, inside of 7 years, this Beaufort County has had 8, including Mr. Moore, Mike Moore, 8 interim or full permanent managers. It has been a revolving door. And if it's my humble opinion, Beaufort County is one of 46 counties in this incredible state of South Carolina, and I believe it's one of the best places to live. So if you like it or not, I love it. There are more people getting involved with local, town council, county council, and school boards. And I like the fact that many people are stepping up. You look at what's going on in town council. There's a number of candidates that have applied for those positions that are open. I think you'll see the same thing coming up for county. People are engaged again, and they're starting to see that, hey, we may have a crew. They may not know what the heck they're doing right now. They're learning a lot, and we're open to learn, but we have some honesty there, which I like. And, you know, part of the reason why I'm on council was just that reason. I think you know it.
Oh, absolutely. That was one of the things that we could talk about that in a reunion show,
Yes,
how you got started. But, you know,
I look forward to it.
when I look at council or Chairman Passman and Vice Chairman McKellen, I mean, with this thing, forget about the rest of the problems, but this thing, I mean, they're like little cockroaches or little bed bugs. They run, they hide from the light. They come out when it's dark, but they run from the light. I mean, you know, I understand some people now will say to you, Tom, you know, why can't you show the whole report? Well, they can't. You can't, because in my opinion, my humble little brain opinion, you all were hoodwinked. You were hoodwinked back when this started by the county attorney's office by saying, no, we don't need a financial audit firm. We got this group. We got these boys in Charleston and Columbia and wherever else they are. They have it all. They're a law firm, but they got it all. They do it all. I mean, I remember the conversations. HSB, they do it all. The hoodwinking was because once that happened, it's all attorney-client privilege. And
I'm very, listen, this could have been flawed from the beginning, and many of us didn't even know it. Now, how that took place, I don't know the legalities of all of this, and I'm going to keep on digging. And I know other people are as well, and I hope you do. But this is why I think with this particular situation, with the fact we spent close to $400,000 in plumbing, I don't know. The fact that we have a gentleman from York County, a 30-year veteran of the U.S. Navy, who worked at the Pentagon, and Mr. Mike Moore. I believe he's sincere about staying with us long term. We talked about that as well, Mike. These are very incidental things I'm bringing up, but council, myself, and others included, are excited that Mr. Moore wants to be with us long term. That, to me, is huge. From that, the last thing I want hanging over his head or council's head is this question that you have. Why do some of council, why are they considered cockroaches, and why do they not show in the light of day? Put this out there. Let's take this on the chin. And also, I said this the other night in open session. I said, none of us have been through this. This will be an incredible exercise of government, of local county government, going through the rigors of an open dialogue, an open debate on this, how we do it, how we work this through. And I got to tell you, I think it still will be a tremendous exercise if we choose to come out and do it that way. I agree. Yeah. And the last thing I want to say on that, council members are going to agree and disagree.
As they should.
Even though some of my colleagues did not agree with me and vote no for openness on this, I still respect them.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm still, Mike, I'm still going to work with them, and I'm still
Okay.
going to work on them. We have an incredible constituent base. I'm telling you, I listened to so many over this last year and a half, and even before that. You know it. You've been in this job.
Mhm.
We have tremendous people. We have good staff. We have council members that are incredible. We have an incredible opportunity to take this Titanic and steer it in a way that we don't get hit with things like the Daufuskie Island thing. I'm not sure if you're going to bring it up, but
Yes, we're
there's
gonna
so
bring
many
that up.
things. There's so many things, Mike, that we have control over, that we can control. And it's just, we don't need that image that.
That's right. So speaking of constituents, we see here Billy Carringer wrote in. She says, "Thank you, Tom. We need people. We, the people, rather, need transparency. Executive session is just a way for them to hide, blah, blah, from the public." You're right. It's nice to know that a few of you are for the public, and Tom Reitz certainly is. Joe needs to go. That from Billy Carringer. Shannon.
Thank you, Billy.
Yeah. Tom K wanted to handpick the firm. He knew he could hide what he wanted because he is corrupt. Well, he knew he could hide corruption. Well, that is obviously a plausible, possible statement. She said she met Michael Moore, seems to have it together. I hope to meet him one day soon. Yes, I hope he finds the corruption. And she says she appreciates his honesty or this honesty. And thanks you. We had another one come in. Lee.
Thank you, Shannon.
Has anyone reviewed the contract the county has with the county attorney to see if she or he is even able to enter into such agreement on behalf of the county? Attorney-client privilege. Very good question. That one is a good question, and I've got a feeling you probably can't, either you don't know or you can't talk about that just from my previous experience. But that question right there, if you can't answer it, that one needs to be written down and taken back because I have a feeling what you're going to find out if you look into that question will be another box of worms.
I don't want to answer that for a number of reasons. As you cited, please send it to me once we're done here this evening. I will get on that. But believe it or not, many of us council members are talking about our representation and all of that. So again, and I say it like that, our representation is for the people that we serve. We have one employee, and that's the county manager, Mr.
Right.
Moore. He manages the entire 1,400 person staff, if you will. Again, I think we have some of the right people in place. That's a great question that I want an answer to as well.
Yeah.
And
Lee, if you would email me that question, or if you happen to have Tom's email, send it to him. But if you want to, just email it to me, and I'll make sure that Tom gets it. Shannon did come back and said that she would love to meet with you. And this, obviously, I'm sure you know her, Shannon Loper, the former director of Parks and Recreation.
I would be glad to.
She would love to meet with you.
I would be glad to.
Yeah, this doesn't surprise me right here. She's offered this with other councilmen, and we're going to talk about one of your colleagues here in a little while.
Okay.
And maybe he's watching. I haven't looked at my ticker, but Mark Lawson, you're going to be on the hot seat because I have some information that I want to share with folks. That's public knowledge. But anyway, that's a long story. And Shannon, I'm sure this man right here will be more than happy to meet with you. Tom, again, we're running close on time. Let's move forward onto some other county issues that I want to ask you about. The county, one other thing, real quick. This just came out as I was going on the air. Apparently, the sheriff, PJ Tanner, has asked via written letter Michael Moore, county administrator, for a full copy of the Hainsworth-Sinkler-Boyd report. Interesting. I don't know if you've heard that yet or not, but you know me, I like to break news. So apparently the sheriff wants to see the full report.
Listen, I don't blame him. Not only is he our sheriff, and I respect immensely the sheriff and his colleagues in that department, big time, and I always have and always will. I believe he's a constituent, and I believe we have to release this. This is not going to go away. This question of what's there, why would council pick and choose what to provide? I get all the names and companies. Redact those. Put take them out of this, and let's communicate with the public, and put this to bed. Again, I don't want this over Mr. Moore's head. I'm in the process of, I'm going to be introducing him to a number of my constituents in my district, probably in the September timeframe. And Mike, I would, you're more than welcome to be part of that tour. And I'll let you know when that's going to take place. But again, we work for the people.
Yep.
To me, it's simple.
So the county facilities director, just like I said, I want to change scenes a little bit. The former county facilities director, he quit, and he went to work in the same capacity for the sheriff, facilities manager, facilities director, something along those lines. Now, for the people that need to understand this, the sheriff's department does not own or manage any buildings. That's what the county facilities director does. Now, question to you, did county council or the county administrator in any fashion turn over responsibilities to the sheriff for maintaining, quote unquote, his own buildings? And if you all did, how much did the budget get reduced, from the county operations to the sheriff's operations? It's the same, money's money, but still there's a ledger sheet here. Did that happen?
Mike, as you and I sit here right this very moment, unless I miss something, and I'm involved with it quite a bit, I don't know of any turning over of anything to the sheriff's department and getting away from our responsibilities for the properties that we own. I don't believe that took place. And if it did, I missed it. So I will follow up on that and find out. But
so let me ask you this with that answer. And that was, if the answer is we didn't reduce the budget and shift money, and we did, I don't know that you added, well, obviously you may not have appropriated money specifically for a facilities manager. I don't know. I haven't seen that in a line item. If you did, why are the taxpayers on the hook for double the money? Case in point, the building that the sheriff is in is maintained by the county. The county facilities people maintain that. They fix it, they repair it, they do all that. Now he's got a facilities manager. Are we paying, are we duplicative in our spending here?
As we sit here, I have to believe, no, that is not the case. And, I don't know what his title is over there at the sheriff's department at this point. Again, I'll look into that and I'll get you answers, but I believe those are all our responsibilities still, as they were before he went over there.
I have someone that I'm sure is typing fast to send that to me, but I believe it is facilities manager is the title. And while I'll wait for that, let me ask you this. On the next segment we're going to have here on the show, as we come to the top of the hour, I'm going to be going back to the story we started last week, and it's going to be a multi-week thing. It's on some curious things that are happening with Daufuskie Island, the Lowcountry Ferry, Hilton Head RV Resort, Six Senses Resorts, even St. Helena Island. They're part of this too. While you don't represent Daufuskie, you're still on council, and as you like to say, and I appreciate it because that's how I felt, you're still a representative of the people, no matter where you live.
Yes, sir. So
I have to ask you, are you aware that Lowcountry Ferry, does not have an fully ADA compliant vessel to carry people back and forth to and from Daufuskie? And I characterize that by saying fully ADA compliant.
Mike, I am definitely aware of that situation. I can tell you, it is my opinion that Mark Lawson, who you're going to talk about here in a minute, is on top of that with Mike Moore and staff, Mr. Moore and staff. All council members have been, as a result of the issues that Daufuskie has gone through. They're good people there. incredible residents, about 400 and some of them. Cade Yarborough, now the head of their council, young kid that I think is doing a great job to represent him. He's got a lot of help. I think he's done extremely well for them. I believe what Mr. Moore did with that letter that he sent to Mr. Turner has put things in perspective to where we believe they need to be. I'd say at this point, let that process carry through. We're going to stay close, but I will say, I think Mark is on top of all this. I wouldn't believe otherwise.
Let me interject something, and I hope I know the answer to this, but I have to ask it. While I understand what you're saying, are you aware that the county could be on the hook? And I mean, this is a big, nasty, hairy hook for an unimaginable federal lawsuit for federal ADA noncompliance.
I don't have all the nuances to that. I know it's being talked about. I know it's an issue, but no, at this point, unless I missed something with our attorneys, they have not brought that particular that catastrophic view that you have to us to this moment.
Let me give you one example. I don't know if you're aware of this. There are people who live on Daufuskie, some who have family going back hundreds of years. And I'm not talking about people that live in Hague Point that, this is their third home or whatever. I'm talking about regular Daufuskie.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Some of these folks that live on Daufuskie, lived there for hundreds of years or whatever. They have, there's a one in particular that I'm thinking of that has a medical condition that because of what's the word I'm looking for? The travel of this person's medical condition, cannot get home to Daufuskie due to Lowcountry Ferry and its owner, this Neil Turner, not providing the full ADA compliant accessories and abilities. I mean, people who have disabilities should have equal access to everything that you or I do. I'm not, I'm kind of wobbly one here and there, but I mean, you're not.
So
you're a young guy. You're your kid.
Thank you.
There are people who cannot get onto the boat because they don't have a way to get them on or to get through the door. And these, this is, I hope that Michael Moore, County Administrator Moore, does get this really at the top of his list. And I hope that County Council, if Mark Lawson's not going to do it, I hope someone on council really gets this thing. I hate to see anybody mistreated, but I hate to see the county where I live get sued for what would be a very, very nasty.
That wouldn't be good for anyone. As a matter of fact, I think we should do our best to get rid of the lawsuits, all of them. I'll leave it at that. That to me, it's another show, I would imagine. But please understand this, and I'm not saying this to make anybody feel good. Myself, other council members like Miss Brown, Councilwoman Brown, and others. We have listened. We continue to listen. We encourage anyone from Daufuskie to talk to us. I mean, we're here. Even our decisions that we make are county-wide, and they're long-term in nature as well, as you could see. Long-term agreements. We have to honor agreements. There's a lot of stuff going on. So with Mr. Moore heavily involved with it from the get-go, with Cade and others from Daufuskie being at our council meetings all the time, which I appreciate, and I know others do. We're going to address those. There's no way we're letting that go. That is, whether it's one resident constituent or 400 or 196,000 of us countywide, they matter, and we're going to show it to them that they do matter, and that's part of what we have to do. And we look forward to doing that.
Real quick, we're running out of time. Shannon just sent a question. Please ask the question. do Daufuskie Island residents pay taxes for roads and drainage? If they do, what happens to that funding? Does a ferry not constitute a road to get them home? They keep saying we don't owe them a ferry, yada, yada, yada. I'll be glad to answer that from a historical standpoint, but if you want to address that, please go ahead.
Well, Mike, I'll start quickly by saying, yes, they do pay taxes, and it's for all the above. And I do appreciate that question. Whether we owe it to them or not, we're doing it, and we should do it to the best of our abilities, period. If we're going to do something, we do it right. And that's what I believe Mr. Moore is going to direct and lead. And we're not going to settle for anything less.
The only other thing I can add to that, and you tell me, I mean, I'm not on council, so you tell me if I'm stepping out of line, but from a historical standpoint, I can tell you, Shannon, that yes, the county owes all of its residents certain things that you are inclined, I guess, to have as a citizen. That is a right to move freely. You law enforcement, fire, a fire service, an ambulance service. There are goods and services that you as a citizen are entitled to.
Yep.
Now that doesn't mean everybody is entitled to trash service. That's not what that means. But there are things that you are entitled to. Those folks on Daufuskie, you have the quintessential haves and have-nots. And the have-not side, some people say, well, if you live over there, you should have a boat. Well, you know what? The haves might, but the have-nots, as Saul Alinsky liked to split people, the have-nots, you've got people for, 200 years or more that have been there, generational, that, a boat other than a bateau may not be in their cards, but they still have to have the same services that you or I or anybody else listening. They just happen to live on a remote island that we never built a bridge to. So I hope I didn't step out of line there, sir.
Councilman, listen, I value what you say, you know that, and I appreciate it. And I know the people do, and I know Shannon will. But again, I'm not saying it with empty words. We have people now in place that actually care about what we're doing. And I'm convinced, unless something's completely wrong, that Mr. Moore is going to direct an awful lot of things that are going to shape up and get better. We're going to improve the things that we need to, and keep working on it.
Shannon makes a point. She says, I know they live on an island, but if they pay taxes, we should provide a way to get there. And that's it, point personified.
Hey,
yes,
listen.
they pay taxes just like me and you and Tom and everybody else.
Yes,
they
sir.
pay taxes. Councilman, that's all the time we have. I greatly appreciate you as a friend. You know that. As a councilman, you are definitely doing the people's work. I believe in you. I believed in you the day I heard you make that speech, and I said, nah, don't worry about it, guy. You'll be fine.
Mike, I fell down, brother. I fell down, and you were there to say, wait a second, there's something there.
If anyone was to ask for an example of how this job should be done, you're at the top of the list. Paula Brown is up there. David Bartholomew, good guy. You are always welcome here, my friend. And I wish you a fantastic evening, and we'll talk soon. Thank you for being here on the House.
Mike, may I just say a word to close out? I just want to say this. I think your podcast here, The House of Cards, is a service to the county and other places. And what I want to leave with our constituents is this. We have some tough things to get through, no doubt about it. But you have people that want to do the work. They get in the weeds and listen to you and get things done. So I'm encouraged by some of the good feedback we're starting to get.
Absolutely.
That to me is, in the last couple of months, I started feeling and hearing that. And that to me is a blessing. Now that we've, on July 1st, put Mr. Moore in, and we're really going to address many of these things, you're going to see improvements all over. And I'm encouraged by so many people wanting to get involved with what we do. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to tell you this. I'll leave you with this thought. I've learned a lot. I have a lot more to learn. And the only way to do it is if we listen and hear from the people that we serve. We can, next time, maybe we'll have time to talk about green space, what we're doing there. We actually tax the people. they approved it, and we're doing some good things with that. I think zoning, we've been looking at zoning and moderate growth, smart growth. We're looking at those things. There was, I've done some work going to things with Dr. Rodriguez, some dedications and all. We have an internship program that I came up with organically, that all high schools are going to now have an internship back to the county to where they're going to be paid. Think about this. These kids are going to be paid to shadow us, follow us in the government, learn what we do. And part of the reason why I did that or thought about it at one of Dr. Rodriguez's events, I need help. We need people that have grown up here, that have lived here, to help us understand the goods, the bads, and what's going on. And also, if they come back here to work, we'd like to have them get involved with local government. And, it's a couple things we're trying to do with that concept. But, we have a lot of good things happening.
Absolutely. Councilman Tom Reitz, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again, buddy.
Mike, thank you for all that you do. You're an asset to our county.
Thank you, bud. We'll talk to you soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All the wickedness and filth this world has to offer.
Rock music that shatters your bones. Big Patriot Radio.
That's some serious rock.
And you're responsible.
All right, we're at about 5 minutes past the top of the hour. That was County Councilman Tom Reitz of Beaufort County. He is in the south end of the island. I guess that's Wexford, Sea Pines, Shipyard, that whole corner right there. Good guy. All right, we said last week, one of the biggest stories of the second half of the year, we're investigating this right now. There's several people involved in looking at different things. It involves Hilton Head Island, St. Helena Island, Daufuskie Island, people, personalities such as Chairman Passament, Vice Chairman McKellen, former Councilman Stu Rodman. It's funny how his name points up here and there. Attorney and former County Councilman Tom Taylor, Lowcountry Ferry, former County Attorney Tom Kevaney, Hilton Head RV Resort, Councilman Mark Lawson, Six Senses of Thailand, Wixbury, Whitestone Corporation, and Tim Pitcher, outside Hilton Head, and Mike Overton, and some others. My God. How many people are we? What in the world's going on? Well, we've all heard for months now about it can be categorized only that the piss poor job Lowcountry Ferry has been doing, and complaints mounting about service, safety, etc. Remember, this company was given the contract for ferry service from the county, and they didn't even own a ferry. That's right. They bid on a job. I think it was like 365,000, 395,000, somewhere in there. I know somebody was bidding at like 400,000+. Anyway, they didn't even own a ferry. Now, they gave 2 pictures in their bids and in their paperwork of ferries. Happened to be somebody else's ferries. Be that as it may, last week I gave you a rundown or a timeline of events. Tonight, we're going to dig a little deeper. First of all, I have several written complaints from residents and or riders of the ferry, and I want to share one of them with you, so this is we're not making this up. It's really real. Let's see here. Let's look at this one. This came in February 2nd. Now, this is all public information. This was all FOIA type stuff. I mean, you can get it. I can get it. Anybody can get it. This came from a Kay Green to the county council clerk. She said, please forward this to the chairman, Mr. Robinson, former county administrator, and other council members. I urge you to immediately revoke the contract with Loco Ferry, as she calls it, and restore dependable and safe option. There is no seating, and I highlighted some things that are super important. There is no seating on the upper deck of the Manatee, that's the name of a boat or vessel, and no sign of the second boat required in the contract. Hadn't shown up. Residents have been advised to bring a folding chair in case we have to sit on the upper deck. Okay. How safe is that going to be to sit in an unsecured, flimsy folding chair in the event of a storm or rough seas. Good point. My partner is handicapped and wouldn't be able to get to the upper deck. Again, here we have an ADA basic problem. Basic. Life jackets are being stored on the upper deck only, she says. When we travel to the mainland, they spend $400 to $500 to get supplies. I mean, you got to stock up, She says, I don't think it's acceptable to expect me to leave most of those supplies sitting out in an unsecured, non-climate controlled environment. Absolutely. That you shouldn't have to do that. You shouldn't have to do that. That came from Kate Green. That was one of several, but I wanted to start with that one because that's the premise of what I talked about with Tom. And I want to really dive into this tonight with you. I want to begin with the most damning thing I have found. Now, all of it, quite frankly, is damning. I haven't found anything where I said, oh, they're doing a good job. They're trying. No, I honestly haven't seen that yet. All of it is damning, but this is on a human level. And when you start doing things on a human level that affect humans and human life and human safety, you've taken it to a whole different level, as they say. There is an elderly lady who was born on Daufuskie, lives on Daufuskie, raised her family on Daufuskie all of her life. She is elderly. I don't know her exact age. Doesn't matter. She is elderly. But she cannot get there right now on the public ferry that the county is to provide. She was having to live with her daughter in Savannah until her family on Daufuskie and Savannah made arrangements. Now, why is that? What do you mean you can't get the ferry can't take her? Why not? Well, that's because the Lowcountry Ferry is not, in our opinion, wholly ADA compliant. This lady, this particular lady, is wheelchair bound, and the ferry does not have ramps onto and off of the ferry to accommodate her wheelchair. And I don't know the correct names of some of this stuff, but the entry gates, as I'm going to call it, are too narrow. The doors into and out of the vessel are too narrow. Again, it won't accommodate the wheelchair. Now, ADA rule, wheelchairs come in like child sizes, and then there's like 24 inch or 20 inch and 30 inch or whatever. And then there's like 48, bigger wheelchairs. ADA doesn't say, well, you only got to provide it for 24 inch. And the rest of you, yeah, so what? No. That's not how ADA works. Everyone has to have the same opportunity. So if you sit in a 48-inch wheelchair, you got to be able to get on. You sit in a 36-inch wheelchair, you got to be able to get on. You see what I'm saying? The gates are too narrow. The doors into and out of the vessel are too narrow, all completely against federal ADA regulations. Now, why hasn't anyone in this lady's family done anything? And I probably shouldn't word it that way. Why haven't they done anything about it? Because they have, but you can do something about it, and then you can go batshit crazy about it, and you can really become loud and get shit done. You follow what I'm saying? Well, my speculation, and this is my speculation, is that these folks are native Gullah to this island. For 200 plus years, they've lived there, they've lived here, and they're still there. And to this day, there's very, very, very little trust across not only racial lines, but also anyone who is an outsider, no matter who you are. If you're not from that island and you're elsewhere, you're a come here, not a been here, the trust level is not there. I get it. Having been here for 30 some odd years now, I get it. I've seen it. I understand it. I respect it. I mean, it is what it is. And it's not a black and white thing. It is if you're not from this island, we don't have a whole lot of trust. And I don't blame them for past history. I get it. How would a very elderly lady, a very elderly Gullah descendant, try to take on the system? That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. Instead, some of the theory or some of the thinking is just you mind your P's and Q's. Don't make a fuss. We'll work it out. That's just my interpretation. We had the opportunity to talk to the son of this particular lady the other day. And like I said, he lives on Daufuskie. We talked to him about his family, his mother especially, about getting her home. And again, I'm not going to release the name. That's neither here nor there, because I don't want to destroy any trust that's been built with these folks. Because there are good people out there that are helping. And then there are people who are adding to the problem because these folks can't get on public transportation because either they don't fit, it's too small, or there's no access, whatever. I don't want them to fear any more problem. But who's going to speak out for them? Speaking out for those who cannot. Speaking for the voiceless kind of thing. Who will, what's the other one I used to say a lot? Who will understand the misunderstood? Now, when I talked to this gentleman, I asked him if he had ever seen his county councilman, Mark Lawson. He said, no, I've never seen him. I asked the gentleman if anyone on county council had reached out to him and the family. His answer was a simple no, sir. He did make it a point to say it's not only, he was very, very adamant to say it's not just my mother. I don't know why he said that. I don't know if he wanted to be sure that, this wasn't a woe is me type of thing, which never crossed my mind. But he did say this is not just my mother. He said there are other people that cannot get back home on the county ferry. He pointed out, a gentleman, some man named Freddie, said he can't get back. I don't know who that is. Maybe one day I'll get to meet him. But he mentioned that it's not just his mom. He was very, very adamant that it's not just my mother. I get it. I asked the man about his lineage. He said it's so many generations. He didn't know how many. That was what I understood. Now he that's at least what it sounded like. He has a very thick Gullah accent. So there was somebody with the phone. He was kind of interpreting a little bit with me, and I appreciate that. So I picked up what I could. He said his mother was finally able to get back to Daufuskie. They did something, I'm assuming, called in favors or called friends or this one knew that one. And they got her transported by another boat. This is private, not that the county, not a boat the county provided or a boat that the Lowcountry Ferry provided, as they're supposed to, because she's a tax-paying citizen. She is a resident of Beaufort County. They didn't provide it. The family had to go do it on their own to get the mother home to her house and to her island. We spoke to a young lady who owns a business on Daufuskie. And as I understand it, many of the businesses rather, are either have closed or are closing. And we'll talk about that as time goes on, why, etc. When I spoke to her, you could hear the despair and the hurt in her voice. She said that her business had obviously lost revenue. She said there's no people, there's no rentals. She affirmed that many businesses have shut down. When I asked her why, I thought, well, okay, is it an economic thing that people just don't have the means? That never came up. That wasn't a part of it. Matter of fact, if you looked at rentals on Hilton Head, that never comes up. When I asked her about it, she pointed to one source, Lowcountry Ferry, and its associates as the main reason. She told me that they've raised the ferry tax, the cooler fees, the grocery fees. They're adding all this onto And these aren't people that live in Hague Point. These are people who live in, general Daufuskie Island, not Hague Point. They're well taken care of, but generalized Daufuskie Island. She said that each person is allowed 100 pounds in a cart, kind of like a beach cart, and that the weight of the cart is included. So it ends up being about 65 to 75 pounds of actual stuff because they include the weight of the cart in the 100 pounds. Over that, you're faced with fees of $25 to $50 or more per the weight to bring stuff. This isn't Hague Point. These are regular islanders. Some that have been there for 200 years, some that maybe just left the mainland and retired, whether they've got a house or an RV or whatever. One example of this, she told me, is a local Gullah native who has chickens. That's been there for a couple hundred years. She has chickens, and she must have a lot of chickens. She has to get her chicken feed brought in. She used to have the chicken feed put on the boat and ferried over with the riders. The Lowcountry Ferry folks began to charge her $25 for the bag alone. Now, I don't know what a bag of chicken feed costs. Let's just say it's $25, which seems pretty cheap. I mean, pretty expensive. Pretty cheap if it's chicken feed. But anyway, if you add 25 to that, that's $50. If the bag costs more than that, add 25 to it. That'll tell you what the whole cost is. This went on for quite a while, and the lady was complaining she can't afford it. Who can afford $25 ferry freight fee on chicken feed, for God's sakes? That went on for quite a while until several people evidently got involved, and I'm under the opinion now, from what I've been told, they, being Lowcountry Ferry, rescinded the fee. I don't know how they're covering that cost. Maybe they're adding it in. I don't know. I don't care at this point. She's getting her chicken feed. The lady business person that I spoke with told me that the Lowcountry freight policy is not permanent. She said that, and according to her, allegedly it seems to change. Changed is the commercial freight policy, and that policy is none allowed by Lowcountry Ferry. If commercial freight is not allowed. So, this type of rhetoric has, as she told me, pushed local businesses out. I mean, if you own what could you own on Daufuskie? I mean, if you owned I don't know, you made hot dogs, you have to get those hot dogs shipped over. I look at, if you have a little store, you got to get the goods and services shipped in. I mean, the goods rather shipped in. Lowcountry Ferry wants to shut that down. It seems, it allegedly looks like. I mean, I understand from talking to folks lately that Marside Mamas, or the building that was Marside Mamas, was turned into some kind of a store. It was running good. And now it has like bare bones. I mean, hardly anything, because they can't get the stuff over there unless you have a boat. We have others we've talked to, and there's more to come on others. Let me check, see here. We got some comments coming in. Shannon, chicken feed is $15, and I don't know how big of a bag. I'm assuming it's a big bag because she's got to do it. You got to do everything in big stuff over there. So now it ends up being $40. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. Clearly, I guess so. What is synonymous in this entire thing so far are the following. There are some points that I've started to put together to look at the end result of what we're coming to see. Lowcountry Ferry is possibly and allegedly violating federal ADA laws on their ferries. Why? I can't fathom that they would do that on purpose. So it must be ignorance, I'm assuming. And that's not a dig. That just is. You either do it because you don't care, or you do it because you don't know. It's either ignorance or stupidity. You figure it out. I don't know. But apparently it's happening. Next bullet point, the owner of Lowcountry Ferry and his lawyer, they, which, well, let me finish my thought. They went what I consider to be batshit crazy on county council back when Buckingham Landing, that's the boat ramp down by the round buildings there on the side of 278. They went batshit crazy on county council. I remember I was still there. About the same exact thing they're doing on Jenkins Road next to the Sunset Grill and Hilton Head RV Resort. That's right. That's right. When the county was using Buckingham Landing, and they had to start using that because of Hurricane Matthew, completely destroyed the embarkation point down at Palmetto Bay Road area. They eventually did that one, and they left it there. Well, the Neil Turner subject apparently lives there in Buckingham Landing. I don't know if Tom Taylor, the attorney, lives there or not. I don't know, but he's representing him there and now him over here. The Turners, Neil and his wife Katie, were completing the charge among other folks, but leading the charge. And I get it, totally get it. There's traffic and cars, and it was clogging up Buckingham Landing, and they were raising hell about it. I understand. But then they go into business over on Jenkins Island, a Hilton Head RV resort, and the county marine, or not the county marina, the county fishing dock, and the marina he owns, Sea Monkeys or something like that. But he's doing the same thing that was going on Buckingham Landing. I mean, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Is that what you're trying to do? I mean, this is unreasonably ridiculous. So I took a little drive over to the Sea Monkeys and the Hilton Head RV Resort. I wanted to see what was going on. So going down Jenkins Road, which we'll talk about that in further episodes. If the land on sides of the roads was given to the county and is sold here and taken there, and it's very interesting. Nobody was parked there because there were new signs up along Jenkins Road. It says no parking, no parking. You could tell by the grass and the ruts and all that people had been parking there, but they weren't when I was there just the other day. Now, at the marina was very busy. The marina was very busy. And all on the side of the road and on the berms and the sides of the camping resort, there were people. They had them stacked and racked, and it looked horrible. I mean, it looked like a shithole. I got to be honest. They looked like a new tent up covering some jet skis or something. They were busy, more power to them. But before I got to the location, I was stopped by a young man. He had a highlight yellow vest on. And he said, "Yeah, what are you doing here, sir?" And I said, "Well, not that it matters. I thought I'd come take a look around the RV park. And I'm thinking about coming down here." "Okay, have a good day." And I pulled off, and I heard him on his walkie-talkie. He said, "Yeah, I got a white male in a truck coming." I go to turn in, and there's another guy, highlight yellow vest and a radio. "Yes, sir. What are you doing?" I said, "This guy, he just stopped me." I said, what are you all doing?" I said, "What do you all got, Fort Knox here?" "No, I need to know where you're going." I said, "Well, no, you don't. It's none of your damn business what I'm doing." I said, "Is this not public property? Do I not? I want to go in here and I want to check it out." "All right, okay." So I went on in. I drove through the RV park, and you see the way that the contracts and the agreements were written. This Neil Turner fellow who owns the Sea Monkeys marina gets 50% of the rental fees of the RV park. All right. And we're going to dig into that next week. But he gets 50% of the fees to rent. But in turn, he has to maintain it and advertise it and market it and all kind of stuff. I mean, it is a tit for tat, but it's only going one side. It's only going one side because the place, quite frankly, looks like shit. I wouldn't want to roll my motor coach up in there. I wouldn't want to roll my camper up in there right now. Just saying. Got through there, and some of the campers are beautiful. Some of the spots that people own are beautiful. I talked to a couple that I saw out there. Hey, how's it going? How you like that fifth wheel and so forth? And getting through the pleasantries. What do you think of this place? I heard the owner is an asshole. That's what I heard. I also heard, don't bring your rig here. Wow. I asked one gentleman, how do you get, do you live here full time? That's what I asked him. And he said, no, we come here and we rent it out and we come back. And he said, but over the last year, I haven't been able to rent it out because they don't market it anymore. Again, we'll talk more about that as we go along. Next bullet point, the people of Daufuskie Island, and I'm not referring to Hague Point again. This is strictly off Hague Point. I'm talking about people who live off plantation and the very small businesses they've built just to help make ends meet are being pushed around and pushed off the island. That's in my conversations. That is what I am seeing. The people that live off plantation, the people who own little businesses off plantation are being pushed around and they're being pushed off that island. I'm going to call it gentrification right before our very eyes. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look that word up, gentrification. That is what I'm seeing with the data that I'm being told, shown, and seen. Next bullet point. There is a severe lack of representation by county council on the island. It is what it is. I spoke of the dozens of people that I have spoken with over the last 3 weeks. When I bring up the name Mark Lawson, I either get an eye roll or puffing of the breath or laughter. One said he's been here maybe 3 times in 4 years. 3 others I spoke to said, we've heard about him but never seen him. There are 2 emails from Mark Lawson that I'm going to show you to a different number of people, and his remarks of them and towards them are very, very interesting. And for those folks on Daufuskie and Hilton Head that are watching, this is extremely, extremely important. Let's see here. Let's go. I've got them here somewhere. Let's pull these up here. It's going to be, let's see. This is the one called John. All right, bear with me just a second. We're getting him pulled up here. And here we go. All right. This again, these are you can get them under FOIA. Have at it. Nothing being hidden here, nothing that shouldn't come out. This is an email from Mark Lawson, County Councilman, to John Robinson, the former interim county administrator, Hank Amundson, who is in the executive staff. Mark says, and I highlighted this important stuff, John, thank you for taking time in your administrator's report last night. I appreciate your strong stance, which will temporarily bring more scrutiny, but it is the best thing. Go to the bottom. I promised a response to all their questions and will probably need your assistance in my responses. Wow. Wow. I will also send Neil Turner's recording of his meeting last Tuesday from the same resident at the meeting that started the uproar. This is a representative of the people. A county council person representing the people who, Mark, love you like a brother, but according to this, you work for the government. You're asking the bureaucrat to help you with your answers. Thanks for taking your time in your report, John. I appreciate it. It's going to bring scrutiny, but it's the best thing. And this resident, I got her recording, or the recording of Neil Turner's of the meeting that started the uproar kind of thing. Let's go down through. I mean, do you understand where I'm going with that? I mean, as a county council person, you represent the people, not the government. I say this over and over, and it's like they don't get it. Some just don't get it. Here is another one from Mark Lawson, 31st of January of this year, to John Robinson again and Hank Amundsen. John and Hank, please remember that the answers to these questions will go back to all of the residents of Daufuskie and inevitably the island packet. We will need to be very careful, honest, and precise because they will potentially be used against us. I'm going to leave that up there just for a second. Are you freaking kidding me? Are you freaking kidding? No, we got to bring this back up. We got to bring it back up. I got to see it again. Actually, let me exit my full screen. Let me go over to here. John and Hank, please remember that the answers to these questions will go back to all of the residents of Daufuskie and inevitably the island packet. We will need to be very careful, honest, and precise because they will potentially be used against us. Wow. Wow. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say because as a former county councilman, I want to apologize to the citizens of Daufuskie who just got the big Daufuskie in that email from their county council representative. And, no disrespect to him, but that's not how this works. If you want a copy of that, let me know. I'll be glad to send it to you. But that is what's going on. So for anyone to say, yes, we're working on it, we have your best interests, my ass you do. My ass you do. This story's far from over. Far from over. We have a lot of stuff coming up that we're still working in and on. Several facets of the story and the saga. Each week we're going to give you, everything we have, and as long we have to confirm it, we confirm everything, and we'll pass it along. The most important thing right now, in my opinion, is these folks that cannot get. Here's another one. I spoke to a young lady who lives on Daufuskie. Had some medical issues, or not issues, had some medical procedures done on the island. She could not get home to Daufuskie because of the Lowcountry Ferry boat. She had to rent a place, an apartment, for 3 months, I believe she told me it was, on Hilton Head. Those rates aren't cheap. While she recovered from her surgery, because Beaufort County is so inept that they hire people that don't even own a ferry. And when they finally get one, and they're supposed to have two, they can't even get disabled people, humans, on the damn boat to take them 45 minutes away across the cove, the Calabogie, to home. That right now, that's the most important thing. That's got to be fixed. There's a lot of other things going on with the Six Senses in Whitestone and St. Helena and Bay Point, and people working behind the scenes to try to get this huge development. We'll talk about that. That's just crooked shit that we talk about all the time. But these people, these residents, these taxpayers, just like you and me, are not being treated properly. And it's very disgusting. It's very disgusting. And we are not anywhere near the bottom of it.
Wickedness and filth this world has to offer.
Rock music that shatters your bones. Big Patriot Radio.
That's some serious rock.
And you're
All right, everyone. Thanks
responsible.
you got it. Well, thanks to everyone for tuning in. Go to our Patreon page. That is patreon.com/Beaufort County's House of Cards. And if you can make a donation, contribution, great. We have also there on your screen other ways on Venmo, etc., Facebook stars, whatever. Your donation is what keeps the show going. So thank you to those that are already doing that. We appreciate it. I do in independent journalism. Matter of fact, that's what we are. We got to keep this thing going. So anything you can do can help. Let's see. I encourage everyone, pay attention to what's going on around you. Be sure to keep you, yourself, and your family safe. Be sure to tune in to BigPatriotRadio.com 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The best blues, news, country pop, and classic rock. We're going to see you again next week. And until then, good night, everyone. And watch yourself.
Yes. Oh,